New Year's resolutions, no one follows them.
Nope.
So,
People do Lent.
I'm a Jew. I don't do Lent.
Right. I mean, I'm not Catholic, so I don't really do Lent. But
Is Lent only a Catholic thing?
I think so.
I think it's only
Okay.
Catholics and belly buttons.
Yeah. But I mean, if
Wow.
you're gonna have to give up something for Lent, why don't you just give up something you don't like
You're
anyway?
so proud of yourself for that one.
Super.
God damn it.
So I'm here with Snippins, Weenus, also known as Precious Boo Boo, Eric, and today we're talking a very nerdy New Year's episode with friends who love to give each other the business. I don't know if we should even do a New Year's episode, but
That's because New Year's resolutions are bullshit. Nobody sticks with them, and nobody fucking changes. There's your episode.
I would say you're better than that. But
I'm not.
That's not.
I'm not. You and I both know that I'm not.
Do you know anybody who's ever stuck with a New Year's resolution ever? Like even a minor one?
No.
I can't think of a single example.
I mean, you do it for 2 or 3 days. For me, it's not even a specific New Year's resolution. Like I don't say this is the resolution. Like I go, oh, it's a new year. I should probably start doing this. And I do it for 3 days, and I just order a pizza, fall asleep on the couch, and then watch Hell on Wheels. You know what I mean? Like it's just awful.
New Year's resolutions are horseshit.
New Year's resolutions are horseshit, but it's right at the cusp of the new year. The new year is upon us. Do you understand?
It's good for the gyms. Because everyone joins a gym at the beginning of the year, and that's why they do the yearly subscription.
They crush it,
mandatory.
yeah, sure.
Because we know you're not going to show up in February, but you still got 11 more months, so you're going to give us $40. So
I worked at Office Max when I was younger, and back to school was a big thing for Office Max, and I bet New Year's is their back to school for gyms. It has to be like they plot around year for driving that New Year's subscriptions for sure. How about just general holiday horror stories?
Oh, thanks for joining us for the Christmas episode, Boo Boo. What the fuck are you talking about?
You get the whole family into a house. Everyone's cooking. Everyone's arguing about cooking. They're arguing about who's in the kitchen, who's not in the kitchen. They kick you out of the kitchen. Then they're mad about the fact that you're not in the kitchen helping.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, after you've been evicted from the kitchen. Like they run you out, and then they're pissed at you for you not being there.
Why didn't you set the table?
Down.
It was already set.
Yeah.
You should have taken the initiative. What?
And you wonder why. Like, why do we put this pressure on ourselves to like make this
very
perfect?
Normal to me. I had to deal with outrageously ridiculous stuff.
See,
like what?
Snippins episode.
Well, I already talked about when my dad shot the raccoon in his kitchen.
Yeah, that was awesome. I found out not too long ago that my great uncle was just a complete maniac. He would kick open the back door and use an elephant gun to shoot gophers in his garden. And he would fire it from inside the house, deafening everybody. But he would get the gopher because there'd be like a little crater.
Yeah, he would disintegrate them.
And a little red cloud would just pop up.
My stepmom, who has sadly passed away, she had MS. She couldn't do a lot. But apparently she still had a sex drive because I had to sit and listen to how my dad would not fuck her and she just wants to get fucked, but he won't fuck her and he says that she smells bad, and I'm just sitting there like, wow, I don't really need to know any of this. That's a holiday.
That story will quiet a room real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what.
So did she get a male prostitute for Christmas or something, or
no? She just sat.
Is there a happy ending to the story?
I don't think so. I think she just aired her grievances.
Damn.
Sounds like she needed to air herself out.
I don't know. I mean, she was very, very disabled. She could not do much of anything for herself, but she needed the deep digging. And she was not getting it.
I got in an argument with somebody about that we didn't land on the moon and that the moon landing was faked and all this other stuff. And he's like, well, how were they able to properly expose the film? And I was like, well, they're not on the dark side of the moon. That side of the moon always sees the sunlight. So you're basically filming in daylight like you would on Earth. And he couldn't grasp that concept.
It's interesting that for decades we have had no interest in going back there.
I bet
There's
they-
nothing there.
No, as far as reasons to go there are reasons to go there. It's just
For what?
If you want to build craft to go further into our solar system, it's better to do it not here, because then you don't have the atmosphere to contend with.
Escape velocity and everything.
Right. So if you leave from the moon,
All the
it's
fuel.
actually better. So you would want a lunar.
So my precious Expanse does. They have like launch bases up on the moon.
Well, because then you don't have to like pay all this money to get out of the Earth's stupid atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hop, skip, and a jump, and there's like no gravity up there, so it's just
Yeah.
take off.
But there'll be robots doing it. It won't be people doing it. The rovers on Mars, as an example. It's not people because we're squishy sacks of water and meat, and we just explode when all we do is explode. And so it's not a good idea to have people doing it. And of course, there's the porking situation.
Right, but having sex in zero gravity is going to be fucking awesome.
Right. So the Russians did experiments on this, and hilariously, and what they found is that when you slam your pelvis against somebody else, what happens?
They move.
They go in opposite directions
Right?
after the collision. So
You can get like those rubber bands to wrap,
Yeah, you're
wrap
gonna
around
have
each other.
I mean,
some kind of harness. One, and the other thing is sperm in zero gravity just
Everywhere.
spin in place. They don't know what to do because they,
Like, what are we doing up
they
here?
swim against gravity. So
Yeah,
without,
but moving the other person around would be much easier in zero gravity.
Mhm.
Like, could you
Wow.
imagine? Just take you take
What
the
is
woman, you lift her off, you
You
roll
spin.
her around, you turn her around,
Yeah.
back on, done.
yeah, but every time you try to slam, you go in the opposite direction, and that person goes in a forward direction.
Gotta use your grippers and hang on.
I live by the mantra of Tenacious D. You don't always have to fuck her hard. Perhaps sometimes that's not right to do.
Even if you're rabbit humping,
So you
It's-
grab onto one of the many bars that you use to pull yourself through the fucking thing. Just
Yeah,
one of them
but you're-
holds on, the other one is like a rabbit, just doing, whatever. And you're gonna. I can't believe I just made that motion.
do your hips have hands? You're gonna grab onto it, but your hip's gonna go in the other opposite direction, and so is she.
I can make this work. I feel
So can I.
confident
Yeah,
that this is
I can
not
do
as
this.
difficult as you think.
What is
it
happening, Snippins?
Yeah.
Snippins, what do you think? Because you have some experience in
In zero gravity
What does
sex.
that mean?
Yeah. you have some underwater porking, I would imagine. And again, underwater porking is not great either, and so
No.
zero gravity is even worse. And it's not really.
Well, zero gravity is not bad. The problem really comes into whether or not there's external fluids that are going to be flying around after the fact. With water, that's not that big of a deal. As long as you're in like a shallower end, you can still do stuff. The problem is the pool water
Look at Snippins' face. Look at Snippins'
and breathing.
water sex is always disappointing.
It's terrible. And space sex is even worse. So that's why they're trying so hard to make artificial gravity so that people can pork.
So that
It's not-
people can bone when they're in space.
Yeah, there's no other reason.
Yeah.
I would assume they're more concerned about the fact of what happens, like the cleanup, the fluids, things like that, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't need a little fluid drippage landing in a computer somewhere.
How
It's
many
not gonna
how
land
many
anywhere.
Clorox wipes do you think
It's
there
gonna
are on the space
There's
station?
no it's not going to land anywhere. It's just going to be floating around. So you're talking to someone and you get.
Oh, it's like when they pour the water out and then they walk around sucking the water.
Yeah,
solids.
you're talking to someone and a little bit of somebody else's semen from 3 days ago goes in your mouth. That's horrifying. Who wants that in space?
Oh, it's cold.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
Well,
could wear a condom.
Space condoms.
Space condoms. They're made out of. It's the same material that they make those dried ice cream cones out of. Dried ice cream out of.
You used to buy them at Spencer's. The,
And thank-
the
Yeah,
astronaut
exactly,
ice
yeah.
cream. Yeah.
and then,
My sister went to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama, for like a week thing that they did, and she brought home like a whole bunch of those dried ice creams, and they are terrible.
not good.
They're not good.
I've
Yeah.
had. And Tang, do they still sell Tang?
Fuck yeah.
I remember drinking the Tang.
Yes, you can still buy Tang.
I used to scream astronaut after every delicious sip.
Your mom must have loved that.
It was fun. Now,
No wonder you hate space.
well, it's designed to murder you. So yes, I do hate it. It's like talking to a goldfish and saying you hate the outside. Yes, the goldfish does not like being out there because it's going to die in a horrible death. You can't just float around in space and have a wonderful
Yeah.
time.
No, the margin for error in space travel is insane. It's not good.
Okay, let me ask you this: how many underwater cities do we have, and why don't we have them?
Are we counting fictional ones like in the Abyss?
No, we're talking about
Or that
real-
underwater movie.
I mean, everybody keeps yelling about overpopulation.
And then the sequel about the underwater movie.
Everybody yells about overpopulation. Why don't we build giant underwater cities? Because some idiot's going to open a window and kill everyone. Because
You
people
design it so you don't have the windows open.
What I'm saying, we don't do it because there's too.
Dude, the glass is like this thick.
Why don't we have them?
The problem is that they're using like metal. You have to use like ABS or a PVC pipe, something that
Or-
won't corrode with salt.
Or
I just made that up right now. I don't even know if that's true.
Or like, you know what's really good with that? Rice Krispies treats.
Go on.
If we make the whole structure out of Rice Krispies treats, because one, it's delicious, and two, it will keep the water out.
Tony, shut up. You
No.
had me at Rice Krispie treats.
Oh, I did. It's great.
I think
Go
the reason that you don't have cities, besides the obvious reasons, is that if you have an entire city underwater, one failure is a catastrophic failure, which kills the
Margin for
entire
error.
city.
I didn't say I wanted to live there. Let the dumb people go live there.
Underwater prisons.
Ooh, get out of hand. We're going to start flooding the place. You better get
Yeah,
back in
they're
yourselves.
rioting.
It's
Turn the
getting-
little
it's
lever.
getting a little hot.
Also,
so-
the underwater elder gods is probly one of the reasons we don't go down there.
Cthulhu is your reason why we
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. And the Meg.
The Meg.
Mhm.
In the sunken city of Erlier.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I will
I actually
I
had
will
no idea how to
only-
pronounce it.
I will
Alright.
only stay in an underwater city if Jason Statham was staying there too.
There you go. He's got your back.
Jason
Mhm.
Statham?
Or Ed Harris.
And Harris, you bitch! You've never given up on anything. I love that movie.
So
That was such a great movie.
just real quick, H.P. Lovecraft already said that his pronunciations are written in an alien language, and you could do the best you can. So, like when you say Cthulhu, that's not really how he wrote it. It was like a terrible guttural way of saying it, which I'm not even going to repeat. But we just say Cthulhu, even though
No,
that's
it's Hebrew. It's Hulu.
yeah. Gesundheit. You have to say Gesundheit after most of the.
Gesundheit. Yeah.
But so like I say Erlier, but you could say whatever you want, I guess.
Areola.
No, but I feel that that's legit. The way that you pronounce it feels more legit than. I think I probably said Rylia, is what like in my head.
I don't
There's
know.
no
what
wrong,
Harris is.
there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's as far as H.P. Lovecraft is concerned.
Unless
Yeah.
you're black.
Yes, he was very racist,
He was super racist.
horribly so. But he is also the father of cosmic horror.
I think
I'm
I'm
sorry,
just
go
gonna take an edible, an Ambien, and some Klonopin and see what happens.
Sounds like a party.
See, it's because of the hat.
I'm just gonna go to sleep and see how far I can take this sleeping thing.
Are you guys just going to talk about? Because I made a promise to Nancy Reagan.
Fuck her.
I don't partake in these things, but if you guys want to have a whole degenerate side conversation regarding
I am prescribed every single one of the drugs I just mentioned.
who did,
Yeah, I had a prescription too, and then they made it legal, so I don't have to actually have one anymore. But I use it
Yeah.
to sleep at night.
I didn't go hit the streets to get my medications. I just go to the pharmacy because my doctor prescribes them to me. Yeah, you made it sound like I'm out here doing like street drugs.
people have,
Kratom and fentanyl.
people have already watched other episodes, I would imagine, and they've seen this go off the rails, especially when Lishy's here, and you guys were talking about pod and seeds and all this other shit. I
Well, that
don't.
was because my dad used to make me roll his joints for him when I was a kid.
Arthritis?
No, my dad was just a degenerate.
Oh, okay.
When I was like 7, 8 years old, I would roll a whole bunch of marijuana joints for him, and he would have parties, and I would bartend the parties, and there'd be like pornos playing and people doing all kinds of stuff that I tried not to pay attention to.
What age is this?
I was like 7, 8 years old. And there would be like this poker game. So I was the bartender and I would go around and get drinks for people. And then they would give me little change for tips.
Mm.
And then I would get in the poker game and clean up. That's how I spent my weekends
Living the dream.
in the second and third grade.
What did you do this weekend? Well, I was a cocktail waitress.
I was
At a
Up
strip
at the
club.
table after waiting tables.
I was hustling. That's what I was doing.
Are you serious right now? That's what she said. I don't think that means what you think it means. All right, just stop while you're behind.
I can't cut away to you when you're already on camera. How am I going to do
Son
that?
of a bitch.
Yeah, well, I guess when he freezes, it's kind of not bad. So I have tallied our votes, and feel free to run in the comments section who you think is never right in this episode.
I gotta go to bed. I have duties. Bonies, I got fucking to do.
All right.
You're never right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more content from the Never Right podcast.